at a current 0-1 scoreline, and OPTIC Gaming currently at 1-0. OPTIC can almost solidify their spot here by taking this victory, and Aristocracy really have to fight for their chance to still make it into France.
Well, yeah, no, if OPTIC win, it's done. For them, I'm pretty sure. It is going to be the 1-1. So, oh no, wait, because of the Fnatic victory, it's not actually the case. So, could be a little bit more interesting. Either way, refresh on the cross, starting things off well. MSL managing to pick up another as well. This pistol already going very well for the Danish side, and there is absolutely nothing at the moment for Aristocracy. Rallen, the only one remaining.
Oh my gosh.
And flawless, absolutely flawless.
I don't think MSL should have escaped with that one. Did get a nice little triple there, and you can see a cheeky little smile on his face, is what I'll say. But one thing, you know, Sponge talked about yesterday was about Config, and when it came to Dust 2, that is his map. Config had a ridiculous rating at the end of that match yesterday when they played on Dust 2 at 1.89. He had 127 ADR, finished off at 28-11, and if he has confidence in Config to do well on Mirage on top of that, I do fear for the T side here, for the Polish group.
Well, yeah, he's the man given the most freedom within this team, and it is evident. MSL, slightly missing the timing there, but he's going to be going a little bit aggressive himself. Just looking to make this one nice and clean. We know that the T's likely going to be buying into the next round, although they do invest a fair amount into deagles in this one, which will severely reduce the amount of utility. Unless, of course, they're going to go for some SMGs. And the fact is, the extra $700 they spent per player did nothing.
It's a really good crossfire setup as well here for OPTIC. What do you think of the veto, by the way? It was kind of interesting that OPTIC left Vertigo so late to actually take away. I mean, because they gave the opportunity for the Polish group to pick it if they wanted to.
Well, I would say that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were a team that would be practicing it. Like, they sort of spoke about it and said that they think changes needed to be made in the video, but it definitely seemed like that they were a team that had been practicing it along the way. I'm sure MSL had come up with some strategies. Also, you got Snappy in there as well, another in-game leader, so they've definitely got the minds to work out the map. And I wasn't really that impressed with Aristocracy on it yesterday, so I don't know why you'd fear it. Nico, well, he clearly fears nothing at the moment, but maybe he should. Loses his life early, Refresh is quickly able to trade, and look at the amount of damage that's done. 14 HP between, well, 9 HP between two players now. As one of them cooks, Dia is gone. Dia is dinner, there you go. And there's only
sure
going to
be more tasty than fish pie, to be honest.
You really do need to get over it. Complaining about free food. Oh, some sort of monster.
I don't know if it's that free, because I'm going to be paying for it later.
Okay.
But OPTIC with 4 players left alive, up against 3. As you mentioned, the 9 HP between 2. Now just 4 left for Rallen.
Every time we mention it, like, the amount of HP, it goes down.
Watch. The 4 HP, no, he's not even in a position to be killed here, so I could be confident. Config, please, knife it. Almost. Actually, you know what? I say knife it, but we did see what happens yesterday on Overpass with was it Lowell?
Yeah, it was.
Trying to knife exist.
Yeah, that was through a smoke, though. That one was a little bit easier, but I respect the fact that he just takes it easy. Make sure you get the kills. He's definitely been punished in the past. We are going to be just watching to see whether or not Rallen can do anything. The answer is no, and it is going to be the 3-0 for OPTIC already, keeping things nice and clean. The other nice thing about when you finally do manage to win one of those sort of like third round weaker buys that you have is that you now just go and pick up all the AKs that your opponent bought. So that's just going to be free weaponry for the CT side that they don't have to upgrade, and they didn't even lose many players.
There was more fire there than a tweet from Thorin in Connector. That just burning them alive, and again, the damage being done for them to do that much before there actually was a chance for them to even return a frag was fantastic, and OPTIC seemed to have a decent read on Aristocracy's map choice here.
They have 1 kill so far. The whole team. You can see
it's like a standard game for me.
Well, that's kind of depressing, but Dia going to be trying a little bit harder than you do to change that. Got his deagle. Again, it's just pistols in. Maximum loss bonus coming up in the next round for Aristocracy. But so far, not so good. Already Snappy is going to be picking off One of these players, we've seen a rise in performance from him since not having to in-game lead anymore, which is expected. And he has in the past been able to put up big numbers for the, well, ever-changing rosters he's played in. MSL as well has had some pretty impactful AWP picks, but this time he's the one to take the shot to the face. Config, though, in a strong position over towards short. They are expecting him. Actually gets tagged down by the Deke, starting to do a little bit too much damage. You might start to worry a bit for the side of OPTIC. But at the same time, 30 seconds left for the T's to make a play.
And no utility either, so it's not like they're going to be able to get any smokes down to cut off some sight lines that OPTIC might be using. So they're just going to work their way in towards B. Luckily for them, it's only Config to actually challenge out for the initial shots, and Rollins going to get the better fit, but now Snappy's going to be here. And Snappy does what he wants. He takes down the first Rollins, just looking for the plant for the extra money in their pockets. It looks like he will be able to achieve this. Ron could hit a couple of shots here. Could actually open things up because Taz is still there. For the 2 seconds after I said it.
Even still, though, an extra $800 per player. 2 players dropped, which is something that they, well, they've just tripled the amount of kills they had total. So it is now going to be a big buy coming in for Taz and his team. And I have to say, there's not many teams in Counter-Strike where I really want them to succeed, but I think him with a comeback after Virtus Pro is definitely one of them.
I mean, if you ever talk to the guy, or if you just see his videos, you see how genuine of a person he is, and it just makes you want to root for him. It makes you want to see him succeed in whatever he does. And I was saying yesterday, he still remembers me from 5 years ago, back in EMS1 Katowice, first major held by ESL. I think I was casting that with Pansy, with Tosspot. I think even MBK was a guest caster for a little bit in there. That was where Sir Scoots was desk hosting with Cadian. Good old times. Like when Cadian was on Mouse Sports, and Titan was still a team.
I miss the stickers.
And that's actually, yeah, when Sponge was playing with Vox Seminar. Couldn't get out of groups, unfortunately, for them.
You had to throw that in, didn't you? You just had to. Well. T-side gathered up mid-control. They've got the AWP onto Miniz as well. Still a few bits of utility, but with a minute left on the clock and a late round execution is kind of out of the question. They don't really have the smokes to do it, just the single one that they can throw down. And then what angle do you choose? Rarlan going to be burning down within inches of his life. And yeah, this is just going to have to be some sort of brute force take coming out from the T side. Like, what angle do you choose to smoke off? I think it's going to be towards the jungle, trying to get them some avenue onto the cross, but they do actually hit the initial shots. It's Dia to get one.
Nico's going to be blocked up by the smoke, like you mentioned before, and Diha able to get a second again. I really wanted to see, and I was talking about this a lot before, Diha just kind of left to his own devices, do what he does best, just come out with some raw fragging power and don't control him too much, and just opens up the site basically by himself. Now the afterthought situation, Miniz hits a nice shot into Config, but Snappy responds. That's down to a 1-on-2 here. Miniz needs to get this onto Nico because he's going to have Snappy off to the side. He's got to force out the 2 1v1s, get Snappy down. Nico looking for the push, and Miniz not able to hit the follow-up shot here, and OPTIC will take the 5-0 lead now.
Yeah, and it was something mentioned on the desk that you feel like Aristocracy have to get off to a good start here. Otherwise, we could be seeing a different story to the OT victory that came in for OPTIC. At the moment, it's been all OPTIC, even though, again, the same as the previous series, a lot of the rounds have been at least close in the last couple. And with the first proper buy round we've seen from the Ts, it comes down to the 1 versus 1. Problem, however, being is they're still yet to get on the board, but the bomb plant would definitely help them out. MSL is going to have an AWP of his own, and the rest with an AUG to their name. Lots of utility at that.
A little. That's decent damage. Helps soften them up a little bit mid. Again, trying to keep Aristocracy, I think, under control here. And their Molotov usage so far of OPTIC has been phenomenal here on Mirage. It's really been a thing of beauty. I think they've accomplished so much damage off of these. Even Diha being forced to take some damage from being sprayed down by Config. But I kind of do like the difference, at least in the playstyle right now. If you looked at Aristocracy yesterday on Overpass, on Vertigo, it seemed super structured. Where basically they would say, all right, we're going to hit A, and they would just only hit A in that round. They would never make a mid-game or mid-round call to switch things up to go towards B or anything like that. But they're playing a lot more, I guess, relaxed, it seems. But that's what you're going to do in Mirage. Send a couple players towards A, a couple towards B, majority towards middle. Problem is, the majority is still not going to work out for them as MSL able to really put his foot down against Midis.
Well, Taz at least manages to get himself onto the board. Tries to use the shot to cover the moment he hits the ground. Even still, though, the clock's starting to get low once again, and in a 2 versus 4, one flash, one Molotov, and Mao's 100% going to be going down in that scenario. Leaves Taz in an impossible one.
Well, now up against 3. Time is running out. Now up against 2. MSL's not going to let that happen, though, as he will eventually shut that down and get the 6th round on the board now for OPTIC.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to see some of those more set plays that we witnessed over yesterday on Overpass and, of course, Vertigo. Now, I will say that on Overpass, I was quite disappointed that they didn't have more of a balance. And I liked seeing the interview from Refresh as well, saying along the lines of how the mid-round calls have changed. Because I think that's one of the most important things on or in Counter-Strike is just the ability to adapt and switch things up. And I just didn't see that from Aristocracy yesterday. Now they're starting to get bogged down. 6-0 down already on this T side. This is where we need to see the adaptation, the changes made, and well, smoke's now going to be set up. They are just going to go for one of those set executes. It's all the players coming in together. MSL looking to try and start things off with the nades, but it's Diha to get that opener. Refresh in a decent position, though, and it's actually not checked, so he's able to get 2. No Molotov thrown in under the balcony. And now the support has started to come in from his teammates. He's yet to be removed from this position, and the flashbang's coming in as well. Great work from Refresh. Config with a flashbang assist and a kill coming in. And that's going to be another round on the board for OPTIC.
Now the question is, can OPTIC be stopped here? It seems like, well, for the first set of rounds, looks like no. And you have to wonder what's going to be the answer here for Taz and his group. You have 0 kills for Mouse. Rest on 3 or less. And they're struggling. I mean, they're doing like a, a nice little set default. They're going for a set execute towards A, which might catch Refresh off guard because MSL is going to be sitting far back.
Well, I think the problem with the last round is you either need a Palace push or a Molotov to go into dark. This time they are going to have the Molotov. Maus actually buys one to try and stop this. Refresh just hiding within the smoke. He is going to be able to get the opener, and he spins round and buys Mounds as well. He definitely shouldn't have been able to get away with both. And a 3rd kill picked up as well. He's looking to try and do this on his own, but eventually Maniz will put him down and pick up, well, an AK for a second, but that's about it. It is all going to be left onto Ralen. Hoping to try and hit some horns, but instead 8-0 OPTIC dominating.
What do you do in this situation? I mean, yeah, I was about to say a timeout would definitely be something that you have to have probably used 3-4 rounds ago, to be honest. But everything they're trying to do is just not working for them. And with individual plays like that, a Refresh able to get 3 where 2 max should have been in the stars for him.
Yeah, this has been a couple of rounds back-to-back now where Refresh has been given too much space and not been punished for, like, basically positions that his opponent should have covered. Like, first round not having anyone either Molotov or check dark is just a mistake.
Right.
Second round Molotoving it, but then when he plays close to the smoke, the fact that he's able to kill one guy facing towards ramp and then kill the guy who's also behind him, it's almost given me flashbacks to that sort of Nuki moment in the previous match where both times you just think, okay, that guy has to be punished. But it's much worse in this scenario because Fnatic were at least like in a close game. Like, this is domination at the moment. And the CTs have even started to build up a bit of a bank.
Well, maybe at the back of Maniz would be exactly what they need. Mouse, who typically isn't quite like this, is having, unfortunately, too quiet of a game. Switching things up, having Refresh hold towards Ticket. MSL going to be over. Actually, at the B side, trying to read into what Tees will be throwing at them. But Aristocracy is still looking for that middle control in the beginning and looking to potentially punish out on Optic if they get too aggressive.
151 ADR at the moment for Nico, 11-2, and we've had everyone sort of highlighting Config as the man to watch, but he had nothing to do so far in this game. The few times he's been challenged, he's been successful, but it's mainly just been A takes. This B site has been empty for the most part. And more with Refresh having a great game, Nico doing damage as well. But I speak his name and he falls.
Welcome to my life.
It is going to be low HP players, though. Lots of damage already done. Nice flashbang in. That will mean they can at least ice. How do you not check this again? Like, that's just... There's so many rounds now that Refresh has been able to get away with absolute murder. Finally, Dia will be there to put him down. But that's just such a big mistake. And now Config's given the chance. Both players low, already picks off one, but he's going to be around the corner, and Config does it anyway. 3 kills for him in the clutch. Finally, he's asked to step up to the table, and he takes full advantage.
It's insane how much damage Optic is doing to them before they even get into a site, before they even get set up for a position.
I think what's insane is not checking dark again.
You're not wrong.
That's triggered me. Like, the first time it can be forgiven, when he gets away with just standing on the balcony, I can forgive that too, but then walking into the same site and dying to the same player, I don't understand. Like, he's just playing in the same place. And it clicked in his mind as well when Maniz goes, oh, he was dead. Oh, I'm dead.
Well, I think even Taz like saw him for like a split second, but expect it to be someone else because he was already backing towards CT spawn. But yeah, there's definitely some problems going on, and this was the map choice out of Aristocracy.
Should have picked Vertigo.
Yeah, they could. I mean, with the way Optic are playing, I don't know if that would have been a change of fate.
No, I think the way it went yesterday, that clearly they probably feel that they want to have a little bit more work on it, and well, especially against a team like Optic, another sort of very tactically sound team, good mid-round calls, and then also having the strong individuals, I just don't think it was the right call to make. Play maps that you've played in previous series, the only problem is this is not a recreation of an overtime game. This is pure domination, but this time at least, a couple of opening kills will allow them the bomb plant on towards the B side. It's one of the first times we've actually seen them go in this direction, and more successful than any of the A hits. The grenade usage as well has whittled away at the Optic defense. Question is, can they get back in?
It's actually one of the first times or they've actually been able to get the bomb down. Almost in the last round before. They have a nice little crossfire into the 2 players who are going to try to push out a kitchen. Rollin misses that first bullet. And Nico, I was about to say, don't you dare tell me Nico's going to clutch this one out. And Mace will finally be able to lock down around here for this T side, but is it going to continue to go this way? I mean, we've seen crazier things today. What, with Hellraisers up against Fnatic, who knows how this half can really turn out?
Yeah, we've seen 10-1 halves turn around, 11-4 halves turn around as well. So it's definitely not out of the question. They get 5 rounds or so, and we could still see them bring this back, but I think it's just the way that Optic have been winning a lot of these rounds that makes it so difficult to believe that they're going to be able to turn this around. And he misses the shot. He's surely dead. And that's already going to be 2 opening picks for the CT side, as if it couldn't get any worse. They're about to be punished again almost instantly after winning. MSL's been spotted, though. The chance to round the corner, but Refresh is there. MSL will give a slight lifeline. What was that?
I was about to say, you showed me a clip similar to that earlier on today.
Yeah, it looked like almost a misclick, but that's a ridiculous shot. Taz left alone, only a UMP. It isn't going to be happening. We get back to a 10-1 scoreline once again.
So the most success that they've had was actually hitting the B site. Maybe that's going to be something they're going to continue to do. Their middle control, they technically have had it a couple of times, but you just saw in that last round with Maniz missing those shots. Actually, it looks like they're going to give the op over to Diha. Maybe looking for an early pick. Yeah, looks like he's just going to rush through towards B apartments and look for a shot here. Don't know if Snappy's going to challenge out on this one. Nade comes through, does. Look at that, 57 damage. So he was basically a hen laying an egg with the nade directly under him. Just keep it nice and warm for it to potentially hatch.
It doesn't have armor as well, so it takes an even bigger brunt. than he would have done normally. And actually, that's something worth mentioning. He doesn't have armor. Tez doesn't have head armor. Roland doesn't have head armor. So normally the AUG, sometimes you can survive a bullet. It might hit you for 98. Not in this scenario, and you're not going to survive an AWP either. Config punished for his aggression. Might leave an opening over onto this B site. It's the first round they managed to win was over in this direction. Still going to see Taz actually pushing back towards the A site with the bomb. Has to be careful because MSL looks like he's homed in onto the connector. If I was to hazard a guess, he's actually looking into short, so maybe they can get a little bit lucky. See if he'll miss the quick flick. But he should have spotted the pixel. There you go, that's all the information he needs. But Dia, straight through the box, manages to clear him out. Refresh going for the face as well. It's actually some help from Mouse, but it won't matter. They get the kills nonetheless, and Nico looking to try and rotate in will be decked as well. Mouse stepping up to the plate after what was a very quiet early game. And now you actually look 10-1, and the CT side are actually going to have to eco after 2.
Yeah, that's rough, Tom.
Yeah.
To be up 10-1 and have to eco after losing 2 rounds. Diha, why not just give him the op more often? Maybe after the round prior where Manise missed the shot twice into middle, he's like, all right, I just can't do it right now. Let's get over to someone else. And Diha's like, yeah, I'll go for it. He gets a kill on the config over towards B. Gets a kill on the MSL just there.
Did he have it before Manise died?
Yep, he had it from spawn. So they gave it to him on purpose. I thought he was trying to go for like an early pick, which he did try, but then he kept it and it worked for him. So why not, you know, why not keep it in his hands?
Well, yeah, I think Manise as well has had like one of the first rounds they won was him with the rifle able to do some work. So I think he's definitely one of those players who can do a bit of both. And yeah, I like it. I've never had a problem with like teams being able to switch up the players that are actually going to AWP. Like for example with JW and Twist, I think it's a good little dynamic where it just depends who's feeling it, or on the side of the map, or in certain perspectives where you go, okay, I think I can do better in this scenario. And I think it takes a great player to be able to admit, okay, sure, I think you can do better in this case.
To put your ego aside sometimes.
Exactly.
To play what's better for the team. And with OPTIC saving, with only Snappy with a weapon. Not sure how they're going to really pull this round back for him, considering, well, Aristocracy is not even going towards B. They have a player in that direction, yes, it's Manise, but he's going to be an underpass transitioning over towards mid. And now we see Config rotating back towards CT. Probably going to be able to give the information here in a second that, hey, they're coming. And if you're Snappy, if like Config or someone else doesn't get like a quick kill or two, do you just save yet again? Or never mind. Why do I even cast, you know? I feel like Aristocracy needs to pay me under the table. Like, can you keep saying OPTIC to do something good, and then it just doesn't happen?
The timing of that was incredible. It's almost as someone just behind the scenes just writing this.
It's like this is a rerun and I've already seen it. And I'm just like saying the opposite of what's gonna happen.
Oh.
They got the AUG at least. Nico has it. Not gonna say what's gonna happen. Now in my luck, he's gonna die. And of course, I say that, the opposite happens.
Clearly Aristocracy weren't paying you enough. That's what it is. You've had a counter bid from OPTIC Gaming. Wow.
You mean Luminosity? Well, you've heard, you've seen the post, right? About they're looking to buy out Infinite.
Oh, okay.
Which means they'd have OPTIC then. The brand, or I guess
I wonder how that would work.
Yeah, because they already have a team, so I don't know if they're allowed to have 2 teams. As far as I remember, they're not allowed to, so they'd have to either get rid of their current roster.
Well, that's what happened with
or get rid of OPTIC's roster.
For example. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they do actually. It'll be interesting. May never happen, so I'm not going to speculate on business transactions. MSL, aggressive into the Palace, looking to try and find that opening pick. Now, there is a man on the other side. It is Mouse. Had a step up.
Want to test my luck again?
Over the last round, and MSL is going to be there to find that opening pick. A good start from him. And I do actually quite like the fact that the way he's AWPing is still taking those aggressive peaks in a sense, but not to the extreme levels you see it from some of the more flashy AWPers. Like, it's always just, I'll get into an aggressive position, but I'll hold the angle until someone peeks into me.
It's similar to Inferno with how aggressive he's doing it, but he's being more conscious, I think, about the angles where he has the ability to run away. Like, there is an escape for him. It's not like you're fully committed peeking down mid in Inferno on CT side. In the meantime, though, he's going to fall. Nico trying to play from CT spawn, as it looks like the push is going to eventually happen here.
That's why he's not playing off anymore. Doesn't need it. And actually, it was him and Dia as well, finding the opening picks onto the site. That's been the change. And this is going to be the second time, I believe, that we see this similar sort of scenario where it's a very good early stage of this half coming out from the CT side. And it does happen quite a lot. I don't know if it's like the teams finally realize what they've been doing wrong. How? If he gets this kill as well. Oh, Snappy's actually going to peek it and get it for him. But yeah, you see a lot of teams maybe take their foot off the gas a little bit. Like, we're 10-1 up. And then they start making maybe a few mistakes, or the players who were just dominating start getting found out and caught. But it is really common. You barely ever see like a 14-1 half. It's always like they slip at the end.
Yeah, and we might see the 10-5 like we had earlier with Fnatic up against Hellraisers. So very, very likely, especially with economy hurting out of OPTIC. I still don't know how I feel about that. I guess it depends. I'd have to go back and look at how many people OPTIC had alive for the majority of those rounds that they won. Oh, here we go, into the last round of the half, and MSL is going to get a trade with Minis. Diha again. Able to cut. Oh, okay, that's a lot of damage out of Refresh. Oh my gosh. I don't know how this guy does it so many times. Like, whether it's capitalize off the mistakes of the other teams or just able to hit shots like that with an ump.
Yeah, 17-8 at the moment, having a big game. I feel a little bit sorry for MSL in that scenario. He probably deserved 2 kills. Like, he does line them up. Dia's been tagged down to 17 HP. And he's been a bit of a menace with this AWP, but speaking of a menace, Refresh didn't stop when he got that initial push. The only problem is he may just be that little bit too late. We speak about timing a lot in Counter-Strike, and he has not spotted anybody coming through. There are still a few players lurking around, but it's whether or not the short play comes in. Snappy's actually going to get nothing. He seemed perfectly placed. Dia doesn't expect Refresh to be that far forward. And I think Refresh expected to grab that AWP.
Yeah, he wanted to, but the nade coming through is actually going to knock it completely away from him. Thing is, retake with a double up, I would not want to go that direction, but maybe he just wants to take a shot really quickly.
Also, he's 6 HP. I think that's the bigger problem. Nico's actually going to manage to find one. Bralin with an easy refrag, and now it's left onto Refresh. Does pick up that AWP with a little bit of extra time to spare, looking to try and dodge around the site. And how has Bralin not killed him? Finally.
And we're kicking off now the second half.
Yeah, they're still going to want to try and take themselves the pistol. Now, OPTIC, the momentum slipping away from them. You definitely saw some players fall off towards the end, but Refresh, fantastic game. And now we get to see Config on that T side. It's going to be a quick push, a retake setup in for the CT side. Dia just going to be waiting patiently for Config. Just ruins him and gets the second as well. He's been waiting for some players to come in his direction. Now he's got the chance, and somehow he's managed to avoid so many bullets, but eventually will be put to the grave. Back into a 3v3 we go, but he was given time for the rest of his teammates to get those after plants positions. However, Snappy up close will be finished off very quickly, and so far this retake has gone fantastically well.
Taz has the kit. He's got also has 2 flashbangs as well. Refresh is going to have to hit some really good shots when he gets the first. Gets the second, actually. It's going to be MSL. Now the kit's going to be on the ground. The flashbang going to be there in Mouse, but he's all by himself up against 2. And OPTIC, that was a very, very quick round. You saw them fully committed to this push, considering they had no smokes to get in there. They rushed straight into jungle, and Config getting the big 2 kills to really open up that actual take and the round. And OPTIC are coming out of the gates here in the second half swinging.
Yeah, I really like the sort of difference in the way that we see Config and Refresh get their kills. Like, it's both players fragging fantastically well, but Config is based off pure aggression, and then Refresh is patient and waits. And I think that just works so well as like a deadly duo.
Well, that's how it worked really well for him on the CT side,
yeah,
like
exactly.
holding dark.
Yeah, he was patient for players coming in his direction. This time they're going to be pushing him. and he will lose his life very early in the round. So a Galil for Maniz, they don't have any Kevlar or really anything invested into this round, so any damage would be viable, especially going into an early buy, and look how much damage they've already done.
A lot of damage, yes, but not many kills, unfortunately, Tom. MSL down to 29 HP, Snappy down to 15. But he does have the only weapon as he picked it up earlier on from Refresh. He's able to capitalize, get a second. Snappy's low, so he could get a third. The problem is there's still 2 full HP targets. And there's no kit. And Config's still alive with Snappy. So there you're going to see OPTIC now take round 12 and be 4 away from closing out the first map.
Yeah, they retrieved the majority of the rifles as well, and they play things relatively safe. The CTs are going to get themselves that early buy with the save that they had in the previous round, but it leaves the likelihood of an AWP very slim. And even just in terms of utility over on the CT side, it's going to be fairly difficult. And, well, you can just look at it. 3 smokes, 1 flashbang, 1 HE is not really the sort of utility you want to be going into this round with. And even just the head armor, it's not a massive deal, but even the Galil will now be getting those one-shot headshots on 2 of the players.
Go barreling in towards the safe side. Not even letting the smokes plume before they actually get across the halfway mark. And Taz says he's had enough, gets a double. Smokes now down, which allows the plant to come through, except Diha boosts up on top of Ticket, takes down the bomb carrier, and look at this. How does that happen? Diha and Taz, the 2-man duo here. I still wonder, though, going in before the smokes plume. And then they weren't even really necessarily looking towards anyone being aggressive at jungle, which allowed Taz to get the double.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to just trying to hit the timings in different ways. Like, a lot of teams will wait, and then the clock starts burning, and people are going to push through them anyway. So it gives you a lot more information, and it does give your star players the chance to hit the shots. But it just seemed a little bit misguided in this situation, and, well, doesn't work out in the end. T-side, I'm not going to be investing into this one. Just going to be some pistols, an attempted bomb plant as well, but that's already going to be met with resistance from the flames. And while Taz, another opening pick from him.
Not much to say there.
Anybody got a stopwatch?
2 rounds in a row. Diha gets 3 and Taz gets 2.
Oh, the tag team of their team. Dia, definitely someone who I'm looking forward to the future of. Like, I haven't got to see much of him playing before this moment, but getting to cast him, he definitely seems like a exciting prospect, and, well, under the guidance of someone like Taz, I think really there's not too much of a limit of what he could achieve. But once again, still not enough money for an investment for OPTIC, so they're going to take another hit. This is, again, something that we see from them quite regularly. More than happy to make sure they have all of the utility, and with the buffer that they have, it's understandable. Still going to attempt to get a bomb plant here and use their utility to the advantage. Taz waiting in front of the smoke, and Dia this time not around that angle. Instead, they're actually going to push really aggressive. Config, did his mouse disconnect?
No, so he had a teammate behind him expecting to be watching that angle for him, so he didn't get pushed from the left-hand side. So he was just holding his line and expecting his teammate there, who did die, to do something about it. He was expecting maybe a double peek. That's my reasoning. We'll go with it.
I don't know. I almost thought I saw him going like he wanted to pull away, or maybe he was just fighting his inner.
There would 100% be a pause if that happened, and there would 100% be a mouse thrown across the room.
That is true. Maybe he just missed his mouse, Matt.
Maybe.
Then you can't blame the mouse. But who knows? Looked a bit peculiar.
I don't know if OPTIC has any mousepad sponsor, so I'm trying to bite my tongue. Or like mouse software or mouse sponsor. Minis in the meantime trying to hold from jungle a little bit aggressively. MSL going to peek almost into this as Minis actually pushes up now and realizes his mistake, backs away quickly, and MSL gets the tag, but Nico able to get the trade.
Yeah, 1-for-1 early on. Flashbang's actually going out into middle, but the re-smoke will come in. Not going to allow Morale in any sort of gap to peek through. Make sure the safety of Config, who they are trying to set up to get some control of Connector. Taz is going to be lurking around the edge. They will just take that control. It gives them a peek onto short as well, in case any aggression is going to come in from that angle, but it's in fact through the window. But Ralen's brains are splattered onto the wall. Taz manages to trade things back, but again, it's just a 1-for-1 every single time. No one able to take some sort of lead in this round. Dia hoping to be the one to do it, and will, and even drops the bomb.
So Mouse, I think, is actually trying to launch the bomb from short. Yes, he is, and there he is. Picks up another kill. So Aristocracy, again, after being down 9-0, it seems like the running theme of today. Big deficits and big comebacks.
Yeah, I think the weirder thing is that it's not so much based off within the half. Like, if you get back to an 8-7 half off like a 7-0 lead, you can maybe talk about loss bonus and teams being able to much more easily get buy rounds in because of it. But a lot of this has actually just been like both teams getting off to a strong start to one side of the map, and then just being able to bring it back from wherever that is. And if they are like a ridiculously amount down, they're able to at least stabilize a little bit in the half to make it possible. But yeah, we have had close maps pretty much all the way through the day. In fact, all the way through the couple of days we've been here. I think the only one that was fairly dominant was actually the Fnatic loss to OPTIC on Dust 2.
Yeah, well, Fnatic's lost config on Dust 2, I guess is the better way to put that one.
I don't know. Everybody else had some sick clutches as well. You remove all those clutches, I think it's a much closer game. He was pretty damn good, though.
Yeah, so was Refresh. Actually, Nico, he was kind of like the silent second place for the team on that map.
He seems to be a lot of the time. Like, you won't notice the crazy plays he's making, but then you look at the stats and you're like, oh, that guy has like 100 ADR and like 16 kills. And you're like, oh. Don't know how he's managed to do that, because I don't remember a lot of the kills, but...
And Nico is actually the highest rated player in their match versus Fnatic at 1.19. One thing I do want to point out, though, it seems like Maniz has gotten his confidence back. On that T side, really struggled with the AWP, gave it over to Diha. Now he's able to take down, MSL in a round before, takes down Config this time. And you can see it reflect, I think, his 18 kills, if I'm not mistaken. He's really starting to step into his own. Oh my gosh. That little crack between the two stones, almost giving MSL away.
Well, MSL instead will be the one to get the opener into the site. We're all going to see Refresh as well, just around the palace. And Maniz has to be careful that he's not picked off from there. Another kill comes in for Nico as well. That's the man holding the cross into mid. That means they can actually go for a fairly open plant if they so desire. They do still have a smoke if they want to, but because MSL is actually holding into the connector instead, they're going to opt to save it. And still with 2 Molotovs, a lot of flashbangs, and an HE, it's a pretty good position now for OPTIC.
Not the only smoke. The CT side can be thrown in. So a flashbang up from Maniz, but he's going to be over towards stairs. Is he going to spot out? I think it was Snappy in towards Get Right. I'm going to look towards that angle just yet as the flashes continue to come through. He hasn't had a chance to really make a fight happen. Drops on top, but Refresh is going to be there to help him out. Mouse able to respond with the kill on the Snappy, but the bomb is taken away. Time is running out. So are the health bars here for the CT side. Taz will have no chance, but trying to punish them by making it expensive. I love ragdoll physics.
I really liked it yesterday on Vertigo, just with Nuki falling off the building.
There was a great one on Reddit today of someone. It was like something like, I didn't know the Zeus was so powerful, and it just launched someone like into the moon, basically.
Well, I still remember, I can't remember who was playing, but it was Sadikis casting someone over on towards Ivy, and then HE goes off, and they just go, and just like launch right up into the air and fly over the wall.
The wise words of Elton John, he's a rocket man. Diha pushing up aggressively here towards Chart. Nice little jump out a window. But MSL again. Looks like the confidence Maniz had has been short-lived. Oh, what?
Ooh.
What? Just a random double
shot?
shot?
He's going to get him as well.
Nico with the game sense.
He's got 20 kills. This is sort of what we're talking about, though. They're the kills that you don't always see because they're not going to be in the most exciting situations, but they're so impactful. And he's so valuable to have on a team. I think he is never really the star of the show in all of the teams he's in, but he is just a very valuable player. And I think they're a great pickup for OPTIC as well.
I mean, yeah, you look at Refresh, like he's at 22, and Refresh has had a couple of really big moments Meantime, though, Taz and Rowan able to help shut down the push coming through. MSL again chimes in. That's a second of the round. Taz switch up positions. Gets the dink on MSL on top of this. And Mouse is going to be the one to get the finisher just like that. Optic might have lost this round. Now in a 1v1 refresh up against Mouse. And Mouse has been struggling so far in this match. But can he do too much about that? And unfortunately not. Optic now get themselves 1 point away from being on 15. If you guys can't count, that's 14.
Thanks, Jason.
Just making sure. See, I'm a better math teacher than you.
I feel like you should be like a kids' TV presenter.
I don't know. Kids frustrate me sometimes. And by sometimes I mean most of the time.
Yeah, but they'll all be terrified from you because you are a literal giant.
That's true. And they would love you because it'd be like, hey, it's a giant baby.
Just like the same height as most of them.
Same amount of hair.
Mm. No, they'd have more.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Well, 14-10. The CT side bank that they had built has been diminished.
Config just ate so much damage.
Still taking it, but we know for a fact that the lower HP he gets, the more likely he is to get a kill. Unfortunately, this time, Taz will be there with the CZ. Nico, however, is going to be there in with a trade, managing to take control of the connector as well. Gives space to his team to push out, but Taz still doing damage with that CZ. Really looking to hold some of these more difficult angles. But every time Nico seems to be there to trade, will Rallen catch him out? Yes, he will. Turn it back into a 2v2. Snappy's now retrieved the AWP. A man who did wield it for a bit within Heroic. He has been known to AWP fairly well. Same sort of style as OSL, to be honest, but it's more refresh. He's gone back into his favorite spot, hiding underneath the balcony.
The bomb, I think it was spotted when Taz did die. I did know that Snappy had it, but because of the delay they're making Aristocracy question whether or not they're still at the A site, but the question has finally been answered as Mouse gets to himself. Whew. Saved myself there.
Did you?
Not really.
Well, now the money comes into question once again. It's going to be a difficult one for Optic in terms of a purchase, and they're actually going to opt against it. Said it before, say it again, they're very happy to just wait for these moments to make sure that they have the perfect buy available to them, or at least a decent one. We haven't seen them go for any crazy force buys. And the fact is, if they were a team to do that, like say for example buy a single AK and take risks, they have the players that it could work with. But I just don't think it's within MSL style. Like, if you gave, say, like Simple does, where you just give Config an AK, there's a chance he wins you the round. But, in this case at least, Mouse is just absolutely ruining them. He was a man who was 0-9. He's had a big turnaround in this game. Starting to step up. How has MSL done that? The P250, the silent killer, the one that's not really named as an OP weapon, but there's definitely some fans out there. Yeah, he made his money doubled just by getting those 2 kills.
Thank you, Professor. 1-on-2, though. I almost expected him to actually flank around towards CT spawn, but maybe he's going for the double fake. Maybe predicting that that's what they think he's going to do. I don't think Maniz has really given away his position at all over the course of this round. MSL's going to have a tough shot to hit here, but if he can hit this, there's a chance here for Optic to be on map point.
They've seen him. Nice shot from Maniz. 14-12. That was still only an eco round coming in to manage to finish off 3 players. Still going to whittle away at that CT economy. I mean, the likelihood of a reset is far more likely if they do manage to win a round. Just look at the cash that's currently in for Aristocracy. And bear in mind that if Optic win this round, they have map point, and the CT side will only have the loss bonus.
MSL actually expecting someone to get aggressive over towards A ramp. A little bit of a passive hold, though, for the CT side.
I think it's based off of Taz. Like, Taz has been aggressive with his peaks. It's been a back and forth of these AWP battles between Maniz and MSL. Config trying to escape. clutches of Taz, but it's actually going to be Snappy to pick up, and now Refresh finds another as well. Back into a 3v3 we go, and Diha not able to find the kill. Luckily, he's got Ralan to support, and now can finish off Refresh. It's left all onto Snappy, 1 versus 3. I think his AK's been pushed away somewhere, as can't seem to find it. Just trying to spot these remaining players, and at least has the information.
He's too focused on that position. Really well done by Ralan too, because if he doesn't get that kill into connector, his jungle player could have been pushed, which allowed Refresh to actually stay alive. So really important frag out of him. And almost gets Aristocracy tied up at 14 apiece. They're currently at 13. And I never would have thought that, actually, considering how the match was going at 9-0, with seeing Mouse at 0-9.
Yeah.
But he's now up to 15. Everyone's really doing their part here on both sides of the fight. But now the Force up here with some pistols, even a Galil for config. They've done more with less. But that was MSL getting 2 ridiculous 2 P250 kills.
Well, it's not going to be happening this time. Taz and Maniz kicking things off, the rifle falling into different players' hands, but he's starting to style on the Optic Gaming side, leaving just Nico alone. At least spot Taz, but well, Taz spots him as well. 14-14, scoreline equalized. It seems like we're getting as many rounds as possible today, Jason. There has been no clean and easy victories.
You know what worries me is that Chad was saying on the desk earlier on that he expects this to be a 2-0. But either way, whoever wins the first map will probably most likely take the series overall. But the thing is, we're going over to Nuke as our next map. And we saw it yesterday, and we saw how well Optic could play it. I don't know the last time I've seen Aristocracy play Nuke.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like that we've hit sort of middle grounds in these map pools for both these teams. I don't think that there's really a sort of a big favorite. Now, of course, going into Nuke off the back of the previous victory for Optic over Aristocracy, you kind of are going to sway the odds in their favor a bit. But I do feel like when you get overwhelmed in that sort of regard, a lot of the time it doesn't reflect the way you actually play on a map, unless it's a map you're not particularly good at. Now, I think the Danes and the Poles have always been very good at those sort of maps. Taz especially, with on that A site hold, I think is a real anchor of that site. So I expect it to be another brawl. It's just, well, maybe just the sort of momentum that comes in, especially off a victory like this, where it's so close. One of these teams is going to get away with it.
Well, we're going to find out momentarily here, at least who's going to take the lead, either for the first time or to take it back in their hands here again for Optic. Currently, Maniz be over holding not aggressively, sorry, passively over towards taking booth today. It looks like Optic want to make a push towards B, at least get someone set up inside of house. Those smokes are going to fade eventually. Nico does get the kill into Ralan. The man advantage that they desperately needed here.
Yeah, Dia has to be careful as well, because I don't think he knows the config's in the corner, and yeah, that's the exact problem that he comes across. There needs to be a trade back, and it's going to be Taz to lead by advantage. Manages to close out one. Mao's still wary of the push coming in onto the B site. There is a patient player in the form of Snappy. Maniz also still trying to hold on, but they're actually going to go for the full rotation. They're taking the gamble, playing in towards this B site. They've got it spot on. It's just whether they can get there in time, and they can. Mouse combines with Taz. Nico is there to trade things back, spots out Maniz, but can't connect the shot, and Taz picks up another one. It's been a big round from him. Refresh, though, the nade could do enough, and it will, but Maniz hits the shot anyway. A comeback from a 5 versus 3 to make this 15-14.
You know what's interesting right now, Tom? If Aristocracy win this match, we'll have 4 teams at 1-1.
Yeah.
Which means you win tomorrow, you're through.
To be honest, for me, that's exactly what I want. Because I don't want there to be any team tomorrow where they don't have everything to play for. I don't want there to be a team 0-2. It would just be the greatest way to finish off this week and get some teams into the Pro League, was to basically say every single day you had to give it your all, otherwise you were out.
Yeah.
It's the most exciting it could be for a viewer. For the teams, it's a nightmare because it's like all the pressure comes down to one best of 3. And although we talk about how horrific best of 1s can be in terms of that sort of problem, but when you get to like the best of 3 stage, when it's down to just one match, the pressure is still on.
Yeah, and I mean, tomorrow we have Aristocracy against Fnatic. We have OPTIC against Hellraisers. Very tough matches still indeed, especially if Aristocracy win this. I kind of, in my mind, had them pitted to lose against OPTIC 2-0. But credit to them to really come up showing.
It's not done yet.
Yeah, down 9-0. And now at 15-14. Nico down to 32 health.
Oh, don't touch the flames. May look pretty. Just look at the amount of utility damage that's being done by Aristocracy. It's going to be the brute force attempt. Refresh. He'll be the one to start. The opening kill, a second for him as well. It's a big moment to try and step up to the table. We've already seen these rounds swing back the other way. The CT Science start to make their way in, and D has managed to get very close indeed, but Refresh, 4 kills now for him. He's gone nuclear in the final round of regulation and leaves Taz in a 1v5 clutch. Where did that come from?
Well, Taz now with 4 left to go. Time running thin. He's got a player behind them. He's got 3 on the site. Realistically, there's no chance and Config will shut this down. And you know what, Tom? It wouldn't be a match with you and I if we didn't hit overtime. If we didn't go the full way here.
That was such a sick round, especially considering I think Refresh actually took damage before getting into the site. So then he just walks in and just pops everybody's heads as they move along. He hits his 30 bomb in regulation. And yeah, this is now the pressure back on the poles once again, because although you're sort of in a situation where, okay, you were in with a massive lead, it then goes 15-14. I think when you're the one to bring it back to overtime, that's where it's sort of you feeling a little bit better.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, again, the deficit you're at. Taking 10 rounds on the CT
No, I meant the
side
other
here.
way around. I meant like,
Okay.
for OPTIC, even though they were the one to sort of throw it away, the fact that they were 15-14 down and then brought it back
To overtime, right.
to OT kind of gives you the boost, even though you were the one to sort of throw everything away.
Really? Even after a 10-5 half?
I feel like it still would. Just because it's the, okay, we're still in this, rather than the other team going, we had that point.
Right. I mean, maybe I just have a terrible mentality when it comes to being
imagine
behind and coming back.
Yeah,
or
maybe
being
it's
ahead
just depends on the person. I feel like that is with a lot of cases. Like for someone like Crims, it seems like it doesn't care whatever.
Well, I figured out that you're a glass half full kind of guy, and I'm a glass half empty kind of guy.
I think I'm just a realist.
Nice shot of MSL again. He keeps having these moments where he just really hits these super important and sometimes difficult shots. Snappy already onto the B side here is going to make the call to come in. Still have Refresh going for a flank over towards Palace, though. The bomb in the hands of MSL. Oh my gosh. Not even a chance here, OPTIC. Just shutting that one down as quick as it started.
I like the fact as well that Config wins a 3 HP duel again. Like, that just seems to be his superpower. That HP matters nothing to this man. They do look a little bit flustered, or at least he does. In terms of, yeah, they probably could have closed this one out by now, but I think all that really matters is just making sure you get it over the line. We're getting a repeat of when they previously played the map, which doesn't bode too well for Aristocracy. If anything is the same, then OPTIC likely to be closing it out, and then you're really worried for Nuke. But I was going to say Taz in a good opportunity, but doesn't manage to connect the shots, and Config will do just that.
A little bit of a shame for them considering their T side did not fare too well. However, they did end it on a high note, taking 4 rounds straight. Refresh again, being left his own devices inside a Palace as everyone's rotating back towards the A site, and leaving Config now to be the flank in towards middle. It's only D-Hut to defend, with Manice to pivot back to help out. But look at the utility OPTIC still have here to use. And when these smokes are thrown in, I would imagine Config is going to hit that go button and potentially get a flank around to Manice, or obviously a flank around to Rollin, who's actually going to go for the angle check on a Config, takes him down. Manice able to actually pick up a kill here. They've halted the push for now. A lot of flashbangs, a lot of utility being invested in, and Mini's going to miss a point-blank shot up against MSL, so MSL's going to get a second chance. Does have support from Refresh on the high ground towards Palace, and MSL not looking up towards Staircase, spots him out now, but it's a little bit too late because Rollin is going to drop him, and Aristocracy able to take that round in a situation they probably should have after losing Taz right off the get-go.
Yeah, a strong turnaround, even with a few sort of sketchy battles, but a lot of the time that's what overtime can actually come down to. Just
I love that keyboard, sorry.
Sort of slight moments. I imagine that's the one you have at home. Or that's the one you want to have at home.
Yeah.
With like some Barbie stickers on it and
get out of my head. All right.
I bet you have shoes with lights on them.
Okay, who would not want to have those? Are you telling me as a kid you didn't see those and want them? And then see them as an adult and still want them?
I wish Heelys were acceptable.
Well, so far we're going to have a 2-for-2 trade. Refresh down to 4 HP, but they do have control of the site. Nades coming through. Config down to 55. Molotov, again, forced him out of position. Snappy going to get the bomb down. Look at Refresh. Really important for him to pick up this kill against Manice. Manice is not going to spot him, but waiting for that smoke to dissipate before he does push in. And now I think his hand's being forced. He's going to have to push eventually. He does get the kill into Refresh, but again, it's back down to a 2-on-2. Snappy in a good position to cover off the push out of Mouse. Smoke comes down. Mouse gets into the site, but he's just trying to stall for time. The problem is the bomb is planted for these two players here, and they're going to line them up and knock them down, and OPTIC will take the lead at 17-16.
Yeah, I think that for Maniz, he was so focused on throwing out all of his nades that he missed pretty much a free kill onto the man in the sandwich, so either way, OPTIC able to grind out that last round and give them the 17-16 lead. Now, we have to bear in mind that at one point they were 9-0 on the CT side, so it really is going to be up to the T side to pretty much rally what they came up with in the last few rounds and start grinding out this game, because if it's anywhere near a repeat of the beginning of this game, it's done.
I think grinding out's a perfect way to describe it, because it's really going to be a grind considering how the initial start did go. Now that OPTIC, I mean, I guess technically Aristocracy had the chance to figure out what did work.
Yeah.
Again, they ended the half on a high note there, but will it continue to work?
Well, yeah, and I think it is also worth noting that at the beginning of their T-half, they made some quite basic mistakes, just with not clearing angles properly, and
True.
It gave Refresh so much space to work. And he's had a fantastic game nonetheless, but even still, if you give someone like that the space to play and you give them free frags, they're just going to dominate you. So I think those are mistakes that we won't see again, or at least I hope to God we don't see again. But hopefully that will mean that there's more of a chance for them to actually build into this T side. They need to get themselves all 3 rounds if they want to take the victory. OPTIC needing just 2. Well, Taz going for an aggressive start. Nico looking to try and support his in-game leader in the window, who's already been burnt out of spot. But he will be able to take down Taz, and more importantly, there's not going to be much resistance for him fading away.
Yeah, no one able to get the refrag there. Ron wasn't in a position. Even Kong, they pushed up towards short. So it's a solid control here of middle. Especially to gather the information they need on the rotates. But a heavy investment out of the CT side over towards this A side site. Diha, that was a kill they desperately needed to. Helps clear out some control and forces Refresh to rotate out of position. That smoke's gonna eventually fall, which leaves them susceptible towards short.
Oh no!
Did he miss the jump?
He missed the jump, and that would have been a free kill. Like, Nico was completely blind. Refresh then also wins the duel, and they're going to still stick around for this spot, and they'll get it in the end. So, eventually it does come to Diha. MSL still trying to watch the connector, but they're going to opt to fall back. 35 seconds up and coming on the clock, and it looks like Snappy's going to have everything to do. MSL still waiting patiently. I wonder if Rollins actually going to opt to try and cross this. He is, and that will be the death of him. And now this probably gives an inkling over to the CT side that this is going to be the push. Also the ramp push coming out, but Snappy, he's done at least enough. Gets the first kill, peeks out, spots Maniz, and gets the double as well. Map point coming up for MSL and his team on their opponent's map choice. How good's your Danish?
non-existent, actually.
Oh.
My Polish is better than my Danish. I've been there basically every weekend since February.
So we need more aristocracy.
See, that's why actually it was nice casting with Anders, because whenever we had like Danish teams.
Thanks.
Well, okay, this was like 2014, all right? This is the EMS1 raid call series we did back in the old Cologne studios. He would actually, whenever he did listen-ins, be able to translate the Danish for us. How many languages do you know?
English and sarcasm.
So 1.5.
Yeah, my English isn't that great.
Yeah. Well, now a minute and 20 left to go here. Aristocracy, on, like you said, their map choice, need to be able to pick up these rounds. And with a push towards B, they might be able to. It just depends on Snappy if he can hit these shots.
Oh, dear, again. He's going to be able to get that opener, gets the second as well. CT side, of course, going to be going for this. There's no value of saving these weapons. MSL hoping to find something through the smoke, but instead is met by an HE, and then his doom from Maniz instead. Nico and Refresh, both having good games so far, but this will be a tough task, especially with the way D has been playing. He wants to try and take the fight even further, and it's going to be punished for it. The thing is, though, the clock has ticked far enough that this seems now impossible. Nico left alone, and it's Rallen to add to his stats. 18-17, double OT, 1 round away, or the map win to OPTIC.
You can see the focus going on here for Taz, as they do call a pause. Their T side was definitely something they struggled on, but able to trade 1-for-1 so far here is not a bad start. They just need the second, force them to double OT. Again, Diha having a pretty good game here. Again, credit to Mouse another time for being in such a bad situation of being 0-9, so down on himself, is able to really bounce back, as well as Maniz, who, you know, struggled with confidence, it seemed, with AWP, giving over to Diha in the very first half when they were on T's side. Speaking of ops, we're going to see a triple op setup.
Well, I suppose it's one of those situations where you have unlimited money, so throw them in, go for the pick, don't get it, throw them out of the map. Go get yourself something else. And there you go, Maniz. Well, he's the man who always has one, so that's not really anything too impressive. Config looking to try and re-aggress here on towards him in mid, and he actually doesn't have any support. So this should be a very easy trade kill. So that will already be him lost. The rotation from the T's is back towards the ramp, where Refresh looks to try and take some control. This sandwich is a hard position to hold on to, but the main mistake teams can make is walking past it without a hard check. And they do have a player in Palace, but it seems again that they're just going to look to reposition. Definite changes to what we saw when they were playing Overpass. Like, there's been a lot of mid-round calls coming out from Aristocracy, especially in their more successful rounds.
Completely spread out across the map, really using all the time that they have allotted to them. 55 seconds left to go as the bomb slowly making its way towards B. It looks like the fake trying to be sold out of Taz. This just reminds me of very, very old school Virtus Pro.
Yeah, the thing is, it was sold initially, but with no presence actually being thrown in onto that side of the map, the rotation from Config has come in this direction. He's not going to be much use. And actually, Snappy's only going to get one as well. So now the man advantage sticks with Aristocracy as they look to try and take us to double overtime. It's up to MSL and Refresh to try and turn the tide. And while really MSL needs someone to face into this angle, Taz is looking to round the corner, but more just holding with the rest of his team. Actually manages to get the cross as well, so they know that there's an AWP in the window. Haven't spotted Refresh yet, but they can pretty much gather the information and work out where he'll be. Mouse picks off one, Refresh has been spotted out, and there's nothing he can do. Double overtime will come around as this map continues.
I'm trying to remember, was it double overtime with Fnatic versus OPTIC yesterday? I can't remember the scoreline off the top of my head. I know we hit overtime.
I can check using my Mind Palace.
So some people put, you know, decks of cards in their Mind Palace. Some put scores.
Yeah. it was.
How big is your Mind Palace right now? It's taking a long time to search through it.
I don't know. Not that big. It was just single overtime.
Okay.
It was 19 to 16.
Let's see. Do you remember how many kills MSL had on that map? Is your Mind Palace that big?
Yeah, he had 20.
Well, I didn't know your Mind Palace was a phone. Usually it's something you don't look at.
I don't even own a phone.
All right, well, now we see OPTIC on the CT side still.
He's so good with the SG. I really like watching Dia play.
You could have just stopped it good.
Yeah, I could.
I mean, he's shown he can op as well here. He's definitely shown he can entry frag. And look at this. Both teams stacked at the A site. OPTIC, no one's going to come this direction. Most likely playing for the retake as smokes do come through yet again. Oh, we're all on the timing on that to catch out Nico. But there's no smoke towards CT spawn, which gives MSL an angle, gives him a shot, but the shot's not going to land. The reflash comes through. Rollin completely blinded up, allows MSL to go for the re-peek. Now after plant here for Tom.
Oh, the timing. MSL pulls out a grenade. Refresh will at least be able to find one back, but they need to clear some of these angles. They know that Taz was there, but they didn't know Dia had already made his way round to the stairs. And once again, it's Refresh in an impossible scenario. Aristocracy take the lead and get themselves 19-18. First T round on the board as well, so they can look to try and win the T side once again, which both teams did in the previous.
I didn't see any of the K words out of his mouth, so clearly he's feeling good.
Okay.
You know the K word, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Is that the only word you know? Is that
No.
what you were saying?
No, I actually know a couple
You were just
other
looking at him
ones.
going, clearly he's fine.
Half column A, half column B.
MSL looking to be a little bit aggro with the AWP. Rarlan now picking up one as well. Used to be an AWPer when it came to the old Kingwin days, so understandable. He wants to go. He just snaps onto Snappy. Pings his head off, and there's another one as well. A pro SG player. Chris J would be proud.
I'll be the first to say this here, Tom, that he's so good with the SG. What does that mean? Anyways. Refresh all alone with everything to do yet again. And Aristocracy looking like they're going to take a 2-0 lead in second overtime on T side, where they struggled being down 9-0. A little entertaining to watch that.
And it really does seem to be just the switch of momentum between these two teams throughout the match. Again, we sat in a scenario, well, it feels like a while ago now, but this was initially 9-0 and 10-1 in favor of OPTIC. Now we sit with them 2 rounds behind, a chance for a flawless T-side from Aristocracy. Still haven't seen any hint of a double AWP setup coming in from OPTIC, but well, it would be 2 IGL AWPers if that was the case.
No triple op setup this time, a little bit disappointed.
Well, is that what you want the meta to become?
It was always hard playing with Machine and Pansy back in the days we all used to work at ESL, because Machine and I are both offers. And there wasn't double op setups at the time. And we're both lefties. And he plays with the mouse in his left hand, I play with my right. But yeah, anyways. But OPTIC seemed to not really know what to do here. But what can you do against a player like Dia, who just walks into a site, whether it's A, whether it's B, and just opens it up basically by himself?
Well, that's been one thing that Aristocracy have been fantastic on since overtime, is just finding openers. He's up to 31 frags. MSL holding, waiting, and catches him without a gun. That's how you kill him. He's got to not have a gun in his hand. Mouse, however, will trade onto Refresh, who is definitely called off, but MSL looking to try and lead by example. 3 kills from him within the site, has the support of Nico as well, and MSL will close things out. May not be the flashiest AWPer in the world, but he hit every single shot in that round.
So now we know OPTIC's game plan to deal with Dia. Kill him when he's switching weapons.
Yeah, it is
You'd be the best analyst in the world You know, Machine's like, so Tom, you know, what do you think the real answer to countering this player is? Well,
Catch
you know,
them with their pants down.
You know, Machine, I've thought about this for a long period of time.
It is the best way to be an assassin as well. Just kill someone like while they're on the toilet or something.
In my extensive Silver 2 games that I play.
Silver 3. Get it right.
Oh, Nico takes a lot of damage and rolls the spray down on top of that. It's already off the bat, OPTIC playing with a man down. It just feels like it's been forever since we've seen OPTIC play in the T side.
Well, this is going to come down a lot to MSL to remind them of what they're meant to be doing in these sort of scenarios. Molotov not actually going to land within the window, so a bit of a wasted nade. Config will, of course, have fed that information through. It does mean in terms of mid-control, they still have to be fairly careful. T-side just waiting in a default. I think they're just hoping that someone on the opposing side goes hunting for info or maybe makes a little bit of a mistake and gives them a way back into this round, because at the moment it doesn't seem like there's anybody on their team willing to try and take that opportunity. This man has been one of the driving forces but has slowed down in OT, 30 kills in regulation, 4 so far in overtime. And he had that in the final round alone.
Just trying to push a smoke with no flashes, with nothing. Refresh will. He looks like he'll stop slowing down for now and speed things up as he gets a quick double. There's Molotov coming in, allowing MSL to peek around the side. The problem is MSL has the bomb too, so really rough position if he did fall there. Refresh, I think, is going to get the info that there's at least one player towards CT spawn, handing the bomb back over to him. Perfect. Flashbang comes through. MSL going to miss the shot though, and Refresh is going to stick the plant, and it doesn't work out for them. Aristocracy taking the round, now putting themselves on map point.
But it has been an absolute grind, and now we get the same scenario for Aristocracy. Can they now close the game where they not only failed earlier, but their opponents have also failed to do in the previous set of overtime? Tactical pause going to be called. OPTIC will be the ones calling it. I'm actually interested to know how many pauses they have left at this point, because we've seen a fair few. It's getting late into the game. It's only one for OPTIC. I'll be interested to see what they're actually going to be able to say in this scenario. Maybe just need a moment to try and cool off. They are right up against it at this point. Will they throw any extra AWPs or something spicy into the mix for this one? No.
It's like some Saw level music. Oh my gosh. Getting like flashbacks.
You just want to see him coming on his little bike.
That is the creepiest thing. Looks like OPTIC though going to respect middle this time. Remember, they lost a player right off the bat. Is wrong. Got the nades and the spam through the smoke before. You can still hear the shots rattling off in that direction too. Diha with the AUG. Not quite the SG for him, but a big investment in middle out of Aristocracy here. That Molotov's actually maybe going to dislodge Nico, which can allow a shot from Minis. Smoke going to be used just to keep him alive and keep him healthy. Now Snappy, maybe it's up to him to look for that first kill. Maybe it's up to him to open things up, because Refresh has gone back over towards Palace. Kongfei's still watching towards middle. And Aristocracy are playing so composed, they're not really peeking too often. Come on! What is this? This is complete.
Oh, I've enjoyed this a lot.
I'm not.
Oh, Diha is going to be going peeking, but this time he's successful. Takes out Config. The rotation in towards this A site. They've got to go for it now. 35 seconds left on the clock. But it's actually the CT side rotating away. They're only going to be one man actually within the site. Taz looking to try and hold down the fort, and he can't. Diha does make the rotation, and look at the flank. Rarlan coming in. He could hit this perfectly if he manages to drop the bomb before it's planted. There's only 15 seconds left. Looking to line them up. Manages one. He's been spotted out, and Snappy will get the trade. They've still got to get the bomb down, though. And Mouse manages to finish off one more. They have to go for the plant. He's going to look for the duel, but Snappy will close him out. It's close, but it's not enough. 21-20. There's still a chance that this goes to another round of overtime.
Just swear we need a counter for the amount of times I've cursed.
It would just get too long. Like, it's one of those things where the number would be too high.
The number gets too long or too big? I mean, technically, I guess too long because you know if you go into millions, it's like a
yeah. Just for the,
number,
if they,
yeah.
I thought you wanted one on the screen.
Yeah, just like a little,
like,
little counter, a little ticker.
It would be off the whole screen.
Well, Taz actually decided to push middle to catch them off guard here. Again, last round of the second half of the second overtime, and Taz gonna get one. Looking for the second. MSL though will hit the shot and be consistent. Luckily, Taz made the move when he did because Config was flanking around behind him. And Rollin, oh my gosh, you do not want to be missing those shots with what's on the line. So 3 on 4 here in favor of the CT side of Aristocracy.
Yeah, they pulled in the double AWP setup as well. Sadia alongside Maniz. Money not really becoming an issue, but he's actually going to switch it out after the early battles in middle. They do have the man advantage now, so he doesn't really need to be working the picks so much as getting the trades, which will always be easier with the rifle, but he has been spotted. A Molotov in for MSL as well. It's actually going to be thrown in from Refresh, and this should be the trade, and will be. Clinical from MSL, and now they're going to look to try and split this into the B site. The fact is, though, the CTs actually have a bit of a stack in this direction. You can see Rallen up on short. Just going to be waiting patiently. So they are pushing into the heavier stack site of the two. And they don't have much time left once again.
And no smokes either, so it's not like they can cover off Catwalk or anything. Rushing straight back in. Mouse looking for a shot, looking for an angle, takes down Snappy, so now it's down to 2. Aristocracy so close to finishing this off and getting the first map under their belt.